Hey guys, Chris here, and today I want to talk about peanut butter cups. Today's recipe actually comes from Dr. Mark Hyman's newest book, The Blood Sugar Solution, which has almost 200 healthy recipes in it that are absolutely awesome. I highly recommend picking up the book. It's fantastic. But today we're going to talk about peanut butter cups because, let's face it, who doesn't love a peanut butter cup? But today's version is going to be healthier and more sophisticated than what you might be used to. And they're super simple to make, and so we're going to cover that today. And you're only going to need a handful of ingredients, most of which you'll probably already have in your cupboard, with the exception of one, which we'll go into in just a second. So here's what we need. This is basically a two-step process. We're going to make the bottom layer, which is going to be the peanut buttery layer, and then the top layer. So it's going to be brown and then black when they come out. You'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. But for our first layer, what we need is a 1/4 cup of peanut butter. You can use whatever kind you have on hand. I'm using natural today. Actually, it's natural chunky or crunchy. You can use smooth or crunchy, whatever you want. Just know if you use the crunchy that you'll have pieces of peanuts in there. The second thing we'll need is a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Again, you probably already have that in your cupboard. Thirdly, we need 2 tablespoons of honey. And I'm using raw honey today just because I really like the flavor of raw honey, and we're not cooking it, so it's going to keep all of the nutritional benefits of it, the enzymes and all of the goodness that is in raw honey that is taken out when you cook it. But you can use your typical clover, honey, bee, bear, squeezy thing. That's totally fine. It's your choice. And the last ingredient that we need for our bottom layer is actually coconut oil. And this is the one ingredient that you may not have in your cupboard, but I recommend adding it to your supply. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put a link down below of a blog post that I did on coconut oil. It's awesome and has so many uses in and out of the kitchen. But for this recipe, we will need coconut oil. So you probably will have to pick that up. And just to let you know, it is more expensive than regular oil. It is a higher quality oil. It can range anywhere from about $8 to, I just picked up this bad boy at the vitamin shop for $23. But this will last a really long time. So anywhere between $8 and $23, $25. And if you check out my blog, you'll see other uses for it. So you're not just going to need to cook with it, you can use it in and out of the kitchen like I mentioned. So the next thing that we need to do is just basically put everything into our little mixing bowl. I just have basically like a salad bowl here. It's not a lot of ingredients. And we're just going to put these in and mix them up. And as you mix these up, you may find that depending on how warm it is in your house, the coconut oil might be solid when you start out. Coconut oil is actually saturated fat, but it's a healthy saturated fat because it's plant-based. And so if your place is room temperature or cooler, it'll probably be in a solid form. If your kitchen is warm, it might be liquid. You can always melt it prior if you like, but it'll liquefy as you stir it. Okay. And the same for honey, the raw honey. If you use raw honey, then it might be solid when you go to start mixing it. And when you are done, it's going to look like this. I'm going to walk it over and show you. It's just going to look like a big old thing of delicious peanut butter. So the next thing we need to do is to put that bottom layer into our tray here. Now, it calls for mini muffin cup papers. And I don't actually have a mini muffin tray, so I'm using a regular size one with the little papers in them, and that works perfectly fine. And all we're doing is putting in about a tablespoon full of our mixture here, into the bottom. Try not to get any down the sides or it'll streak. It won't look as pretty. It'll taste as good, but it just won't look as nice. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling these up, and I'll be back in just a moment. So as you can see, I went ahead and put in about a tablespoon into each mini paper, and this recipe makes 10 peanut butter cups. So you'll see I have 10 out of the 12 slots filled with the cups. So the next thing we do is we put these bad boys into the freezer to let them set a little bit, and then we'll come back and make the top layer. Okay, so it's been about 15-20 minutes and the peanut butter layer has been in the freezer hardening up, and I just checked it, it's pretty much ready to go. So while that finishes up, I'm going to go ahead and make the top layer. And one of the really nice things about this particular recipe is that it uses the same ingredients and actually the same quantities, with one minor exception. Obviously the top layer has the chocolate in it. So again, we're going to have 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And again, I really encourage you to pick up some coconut oil. It's very diverse and versatile, and it's extremely good for your health. 1/4 cup of peanut butter, just like before. 2 tablespoons of honey. Again, you can use whatever honey you have on hand. Today I'm using raw, so that's why it's a little more solid than the pasteurized version. We're going to do our vanilla extract again, and this time we're adding a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. So again, just like before, it's just dump and stir. So that's one of the things that, one of the other things that makes this recipe so great is that, grab a spoon, is that you don't really have to have any culinary skills. You just, as long as you can measure out your ingredients, plop them in a bowl, and stir, then you are all set. That's really all there is to it. So we're just going to put everything in there, get our peanut butter here, and again, your consistency might vary a little bit depending on your ingredients. The coconut oil, like I mentioned before, is it'll be solid if it's room temperature or cooler in your kitchen. If it's warmer, it'll be a liquid, so that'll vary. And again, your honey, depending on the type you use, will vary. If it's kind of out of the plastic bottle or the bear, it will be liquid. If you use raw, it'll probably be solid. So everything's in there again, and I'm just going to stir away here, and I will show you what it looks like in just a moment. Okay, so this is what we end up with. And again, depending on the ingredients that you use, the consistency will be different. Because I'm using the raw honey especially, it's a little thicker. It actually looks like fudge in the bowl. If you use the liquid honey, it'll be more like a chocolatey syrup kind of consistency. So everybody remembers our little friends here. They are nicely frozen. And so we are going to combine the best 2 ingredients that have ever been combined before. We're going to put the chocolate in with the peanut butter. All right. Again, all you got to do is take your chocolate, and you're just filling up each cup to the top, creating that magical combination. And again, because mine's a little thicker, it needs a little bit more coaxing with the finger. But I promise I cleaned it. If it's liquidy, it's even easier. You just pour it on until you fill up the cups. All done, and their final trip to the freezer for 15 minutes, and then they will be ready to go. Okay, so 15 minutes has gone by, and now we have this beautiful little peanut butter cup, and I'm going to unveil it here so you can see what it looks like outside of the wrapper. And again, this is going to be a healthier alternative to what you typically buy. It's not going to have any trans fats in it. I'm also going to post a link, if you're watching this on YouTube, to a class that I did on the basics of reading labels. I think pretty much everybody knows about trans fats and how horrible they are for you, but you might be surprised at how manufacturers are hiding that there is truly the trans fat in there. So I'm going to post that link. It's on a learning system called Learn It Live. But here we go. So let's get a nice close-up of this. Got that awesome peanut buttery bottom layer and the chocolatey top layer. And let's take a sample. It's awesome. It's really rich, so you probably won't need more than one, to be perfectly honest. I've been known to down a bag of peanut butter cups, but really the richness of the coconut oil really satisfies you. And yeah, this is just awesome. So try it out. I'm going to post the recipe here. And again, check out the book, The Blood Sugar Solution. Dr. Mark Hyman has almost 200 recipes, healthy, awesome recipes from desserts to entrees to snacks, everything you could possibly want. And it'll help with blood sugar regulation. So check it out and let me know what you think. Try these out, let me know, give me some feedback, let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.